Another blowout loss for the Carolina Panthers, who now prepare to take on the Miami Dolphins. Where do we go from here? Let's talk about it.
Brace yourself for the ultimate Carolina Panthers experience. Welcome to Two Growls, One Roar, the podcast that hits harder than a Luke Kuechly tackle. We're diving deep into the heart of Panther Nation, bringing you unrivaled passion, insider takes, and pure gridiron fire. From Wilmington to the cosmos, this is your home for the fiercest football talk east or west of Charlotte.
Welcome in, folks, to another edition of the Two Growls, One Roar podcast. Hope you guys are doing well. As always, please hit that subscribe button or follow and give us 5 stars wherever you are listening to this podcast. Now, let's get right into it. Speaking of 5 stars, I can tell you one thing we're not going to do is give 5 stars to this team right now, and it starts at the very top with Dave Canales. We've had a little over a day to let the game settle in, and it's the same as it ever was. To quote the great Talking Heads, that's exactly where the Carolina Panthers are right now, and it is a frustrating time for Panthers fans trying to figure this out. I did a lot of listening to folks on the radio yesterday talking through their frustrations, and we're at a point now to where you just pinpoint anything. You can pick out almost whatever you want, and I don't know that there's a wrong answer as you try to figure out the problem. As in, I don't know that there's really any good on this team right now. Derek Brown, yes. I still think J.C. Horn, yes. Chuba Hubbard, Tedro McMillan, who's going to come around. There's not a lot of good outside of that, though. And kind of put Bryce Young in there as well, maybe. But I know there's a few fans, more than a few fans, that are out on him, regardless of the lack of weapons. And I know it's been talked about time after time that he doesn't have enough. That's been our excuse. In a way, not all the way. It's been pressure. It's been he doesn't have weapons. And I will fully agree that what we saw out there on Sunday wasn't it. Just wasn't. But as I've stated, at some point, if you are an NFL quarterback, you have to figure out how to get the job done. And who knows, maybe if we get to this point where Bryce Young is not here, and I'm not saying that's going to be the case, but in the event that he is not here, who knows, maybe he does go somewhere else, a brand new scene, a refresh, and things pan out well. We've seen it happen with multiple quarterbacks that have come through here, so why not? But that's not what I'm really focused on today. It's more the state of the Carolina Panthers, because last week, you may remember, I came on here and I talked through, before the Atlanta game, I should say, we put out an episode that the Carolina Panthers are going to be okay, that Dave Canales is not in trouble after the 0-2 start. We doubled down, or I did at least, and was like, hey, things are going to be fine. We're going to figure it out. This team's better than what they've shown, and they did show it, at least for 60 minutes on Sunday 2 weeks ago against the Falcons. It felt like, okay, maybe the Carolina Panthers have figured it out. And then we see them lay the egg that they did. And that, to me, is the biggest problem that I have right now with Dave Canales and this team, is the fact that when we lose, when the Carolina Panthers lose under Dave Canales, it's blowouts. The games are not close. And when the games are not close, that usually means that you're down early or you let it get away from you. And a well-coached football team is not going to let that happen. We see blowouts in college. In the NFL, we see blowouts still, but these guys are relatively the same in skill set. So it's almost, I mean, it really does come down to how well you're coaching them. Are you putting them in the right position? So many times I do think that I look at a few of the gaps that we have, and there really aren't any. There isn't anything that we can do. There isn't anything that the team can do right now outside of scooping someone off the street. When I look at our linebackers, which is just a terrible group as far as the product that they put on the field, I don't have an answer. When you talk about Edge and DJ Johnson, I don't have an answer for what they do. So if I am the Carolina Panthers and this is the path I'm going down and I'm Dave Canales, DJ One and Pat Jones make a big difference at edge. So that's going to help. But maybe you try to play some of these younger guys. And I even go back to the linebacking core because what we're seeing out of Trevin Wallace and Christian Roseboom, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. And it probably is worse throwing in some of these other guys. But at this point, I don't know what to say. And we do have to start bringing, one of the things, at least from what I've talked about, that we have not really brought into the equation is Dan Morgan. I think everyone has to be under scrutiny at this point. Again, I'm not saying it's the end of the world, and I'm not saying that the Panthers can't get back on track, but I am saying these questions are going to continue, and the heat's going to pick up for everyone, whether it's Dave Canales, Ejiro Evero. I mean, Brad Idzik, there's only so much because Dave is still calling the plays, and that's his guy. So I don't think there's really anything that's going to happen there. Tracy Smith, special teams, Dan Morgan. I mean, we gave Dan Morgan a lot of praise, but it kind of wondering right now what this is going to be, especially with his evaluation or their evaluation of Trevin Wallace. When you compare it, and I hate it, revisionist history, going back, 2020 vision, all those things, like, of course, looking back on things, you're naturally going to have a better view. But the Panthers just continue to make these types of mistakes along the way and not getting the right guy. I primarily look at a Peyton Wilson, who is right here in your backyard, one of the best linebackers in college at the time. You have every ability to scout, to get any answer that you need. I understand the concerns of the health coming in, but you pick this raw talent, Trevin Wallace, over him when the opportunity was there to scoop him up, and you choose not to do that. And now you see Peyton Wilson continuing to thrive. There's some things that, like, hey, if the guy's pretty dang good in college, odds are that's going to translate into the NFL. And the Panthers just haven't figured out all the pieces right now. When we were recapping, talking through, and coming into this week, previewing the game, the question I brought up is what is going to happen when things don't go well, when an adversity hits? Because you go back to the game against the Falcons, as I said, like, that was a game where everything fell in your favor. You're talking about kickers missing field goals, a muffed punt that doesn't turn into any points, a pick six touchdown, another interception. You were clicking on all cylinders. You did not have to do that much. And when everything falls your way, of course, you can come out on the other end. It's almost similar to the Patriots' performance from this week. It's a frustrating time. And so I think fans are going to continue to be frustrated. I don't know what the fan support is going to look like in terms of, supporting the team. You've got an opportunity. I mean, I'll say it every week. That's the one thing is someone that watches this stuff. You got an opportunity against the Dolphins team that's now not going to have Tyreek Hill. They still have a lot of speed. They're able to get out in space. I think they're going to be able to do a lot of things to the Panthers defense unless hopefully we're able to get Pat Jones, DJ Warren back. So it is an opportunity for them. Following that up with the Dallas Cowboys, who are I'm not going to say a great team, but seem to be okay. And then the New York Jets. So you've got a stretch of 3 games here. And I'm not asking the Panthers to win all of them to get back to 4-3, but if they can at least win 2, sitting at 3-4 is much better than 1-6, 2-5 through 7 games. When we start getting into 1 wins, 2 wins, that late into the season, talking 7 games, 8 games in, whatever, 7 games in, that's when the real questions are going to come up, because it is back to, like I said, the same as what we've seen over the past couple of years, really the last 7 years for this team, outside of a small window with Steve Wilkes, who managed to have a better record than anyone that we've seen here since Ron Rivera in that very short time. This team has got to find something. And I don't know if it's uninspired. I don't know if they're not buying into Dave Canales. I mean, from all accounts in the locker room, at least from what the statements are by the players, they're putting it on themselves that they've got to execute, that they've got to be the ones to make the plays, that they're the ones that are stepping on the field. I don't know. I really don't know, because I know some people have called out the fact that Dave Canales has been great on a scripted drive, but outside of that, hasn't been the greatest game that he's been called. And you think about the Falcons game, of course, not having to worry too much because you're just running the ball because you got such a big lead and you're able to not have to force your way in. You think about the point differential, and I know this was posted by a few folks after Sunday's loss. The point differential for the Carolina Panthers under Dave Canales in losses, it's almost three. It's roughly 3 scores, close to 18 points per game, folks. That is a blowout. That is an absolute blowout and largest deficit by any coach. Even like Matt Rule wasn't getting blown out like this. That's probably one of the most frustrating things for fans, is that when this team loses, they get blown out. It is not close. And it's hard to get behind it. It really is, because the moment something happens, like you go back to Sunday, I think everyone knew when they took that punt return touchdown back that was it. You just had that feeling like, okay, well, that was fun while it lasted. We played one good drive, 2 drives, and then things crumble and we can't do anything with it. And that's where the Carolina Panthers sit right now. So as far as the future, it does feel like, as much as I still believe that Dave Canales is safe, that I have to admit that the pressure's there. That this thing, as we are watching it unfold, like we can't go back down the path that we were. And like I said on the live stream, when you think about this Carolina Panthers team and winning and, oh, let's build off of what we had, you can't get down and be 2-5 again, 1-6, and then rattle off 4 or 5 wins and finish with 5, 6, 7 wins, whatever it is. I know they're going to be playing some meaningful football against probably Tampa, maybe even Atlanta, but you can't have it. You got to win earlier and give yourself a chance late. Again, just based off what we've seen, is this a playoff team? Probably not. Probably not. I mean, not probably. Right now, no. Guaranteed, this is not a playoff team, and I don't think they're going to be able to flip some switches at certain positions and get it. But you do want to see, hey, can we finally get XL involved? We're going to have Jimmy Horn Jr., by all accounts, according to Canales. ETN returning punts is terrible without David Moore in the lineup. So there's a lot to unpack. Jalen Coker eventually coming back, although it sounds like not this week for right now. Have to have that window activated for him to be able to return. As a recorded this, it hasn't happened, so we'll continue to monitor that situation. All that said, where do we go? What happens next? I don't know, to be honest. And I've been watching this now unfold in this fashion where I'm this close to everything for a good 3 years, 3rd season doing this for the Carolina Panthers. And there's not been a lot of bright spots as we watch this team. It really hasn't, which is a little disappointing, because I think we all hoped that we would figure it out and that we won't have to go down this path of bringing in a new head coach. There's just A lot of questions, man. It feels like if this goes down the way that it is, and I know Bryce Young has, like, I'm one of those that knows Bryce Young has shown that he does have some of that in him to be able to do this, but also acknowledge some things just aren't there. Some of the misses that he's not able to make. So with that said, man, we'll have to just figure out what the heck's happening next and see where we go from there. So, anyways, folks, we will be back as we always are, even though at this point it's frustrating to continue to preview games and put in the amount of effort we do when we end up losing, but we'll do it. That's what we do so you guys can get prepared. We'll try to find a way to talk through the Panthers. I mean, they should have a chance this week against the Miami Dolphins. But until then, this is Carolina Dad. Y'all have a good one.